Ever ask yourself, what if the plane crashes? What if I mess up this meeting and everyone knows I'm a fraud? What if my brain suddenly forgets how to breathe in the cereal aisle at Walmart? Sound ridiculous? Maybe, but also relatable. Here's something you may not know. Your brain rehearses catastrophe not because it's broken, but because it's trying to help. Just very badly. And there are two kinds of what ifs. One of them is totally irrational. The other, actually kind of smart. Most people don't know how to tell the difference. But once you do, you can stop being bossed around by anxiety. Let me show you how. Let's start with the first kind, absurd what ifs. These are the ones that sound like they were written by a disaster-obsessed toddler. What if I accidentally drive off a cliff? What if I faint and everyone thinks I'm dying? What if I call my boss mom by accident? Absurd what ifs are the brain's glitchy version of a safety drill. In cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, this is called catastrophizing, turning unlikely events into emotional realities. I had a client once, we'll call her the grocery store girl. She was convinced that every time she went shopping, people were staring and whispering and judging. So I asked, how many times have you actually been laughed at in aisle 5? Answer, never. But her brain didn't care. It hit the panic button every single time. So we used one of my favorite CBT tools, reality testing. This means asking your brain for receipts, real proof, not just fear-colored guesses. Because sometimes we're treating the emotional equivalent of a paper cut like it's a shark attack. But what if the fear actually does make sense? What if it's something you've gone through before and it could happen again? Hold that thought. We'll get there. But first, if you're into tools that help you get real with your thoughts and feel more grounded, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. It tells YouTube this content is worth showing to more people, and it tells me to keep making videos like this. If you wouldn't bet on it in Vegas, don't give it center stage in your mental theater. Here's how to handle absurd what ifs. Name the distortion. This is catastrophizing. My brain is throwing spaghetti at the wall. Step 2, do reality testing. What evidence do I have that this has ever happened? And step 3, use compassionate humor. Okay, brain, I hear you. But the guy in aisle 3 is too busy deciding between almond and oat milk to care what I'm doing. Here's a little fun neuroscience fact. Labeling anxious thoughts literally reduces activity in the amygdala, your brain's fear center. It's called affect labeling. It's like naming a monster so that it loses its power. You're not broken, you're just receiving static-filled messages. And now you've got the remote. Now let's talk about the second kind of what if. The ones that make your stomach drop because they're not absurd. Realistic what ifs. What if I relapse into depression? What if my partner leaves? What if I lose someone I love? These come from lived experience or real future risk, and they don't go away just because you're telling yourself to calm down. Although it can be helpful to mindfully recognize that they are not currently happening and you are currently safe. However, trying to ignore them can actually make them louder. But here's the secret. What if doesn't have to end in doom. It can end in preparation. Instead of spiraling into what if, try shifting into then what? This is called values-based planning, a powerful practice rooted in acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. I had a client who asked, what if I get depressed again? So I asked, if you did, what would you do? She blinked, then said, I'd tell my husband. I'd call my therapist. I'd adjust my workload. I'd get through it. And boom, the fear went from overwhelming to manageable. So try this. Ask, if this happened, how would I respond? Have I ever survived something like this before? And decide, what values would I act from, even in pain, to produce the best possible outcomes? And just like that, your brain stops being a panic siren and becomes a wise planner. Here's the takeaway. Not all what ifs deserve your fear, but every what if deserves your attention. Some need to be gently laughed at, some need to be wisely planned for, but none need to control you. So next time your brain plays the what if game, ask, is this fear absurd or realistic? Respond accordingly with evidence or with a plan. Then breathe, speak truth, live your values, and keep going. In the comments, tell me one what if your brain loves to throw at you and how you're learning to respond. If this helped, please like and subscribe and share with someone who's living in the land of what ifs. I'll see you in the next one.